Hello. Right. There you are.
Oh,
Hi.
how you doing?
I'm all right. You?
Now, so far, so good.
Right. That's better.
So what's new?
What is new? I'm trying my best to find enough material to present at the next AAS conference. Endless meetings at school. Our department is up for have our engineering programs reaccredited next year, so we're trying to gather all the data necessary to prove that we deserve it.
Well, there's no doubt that's going to happen though, right?
Well, yeah, it'll happen, yes.
But it's a lot of trouble, I'm sure. You've got to check all the check boxes and provide all the documentation.
Yes. And there's our endless struggle to find enough adjuncts. Ambrose, they keep saying they want 25% of our courses taught by adjuncts. Our department, no exception. How do you convince people to teach for your course as an adjunct when, as an adjunct, they get paid hardly more than we get for overtime?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of work. The class I taught, that wasn't necessarily my favorite subject, but it was okay. But it was a lot of work, a lot of students, you know, when you have 25 or 30 students in a class, that's a lot of work.
Yes.
I know you told me you had like 60 students last semester. That's a lot. I don't know how you could handle it. That'd be a full-time job in itself.
Yes, it was.
So,
I tell you what, doesn't leave me any time for research. That's what.
yeah. So anyway, I did talk to Muhammad about the potential for teaching a class. So he said he would let me know.
I'll put in a good word if you need it.
I'd like to teach thermodynamics. That's kind of my favorite subject. I've taught it a couple of times at Scott. I was supposed to be teaching that this fall, but they didn't have any students sign up for it. So I guess they were afraid, or I've got a bad reputation. I don't know, but I have taught it before. The class sizes are usually really small though. They only have maybe 3 or 4 students, which is ideal, you know, for teaching as an adjunct. You can really get to know your students, and it's very interpersonal and it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, our thermodynamics courses are upper level, so they probably wouldn't have that many students. Then they'd all be engineering majors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 I think a lot of people are afraid of it because, yeah, you're a confirmed engineer by that point, and not everybody goes down that path. A lot of them don't. So I don't know.
Well, this is John who?
Baker.
Baker.
And John.
Hi.
Hello. You're talking about thermodynamics. Have you heard about the quantum particles that defy the laws of thermodynamics they just discovered?
What are those?
I'm trying to find them right now. And of course, I can't.
Was this on the internet? Do you remember what website it was?
Time crystals is what they call them. Made inside Google's quantum computer could change physics forever.
Hmm.
Yeah, do a Google search on time crystals. With the ability to forever cycle between two states without ever losing energy. Time crystals dodge one of the most important laws of physics, the second law of thermodynamics.
I have heard of them. Yeah, a little bit about them. Hmm.
Sounds interesting. I don't know much about it, but
I do remember entropy was brought up in statistical mechanics, and basically said that strictly speaking, entropy is not an inviolable law. It's just that statistically speaking, entropy is it's much greater probability that entropy is going to keep increasing no matter what you do.
Yeah, which states, yeah, the disorder entropy of an isolated system must always increase,
Yes.
but the time crystals remain stable. They don't increase.
So in that context, time crystals are just beating the odds.
Okay.
Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Let's see, what was it? Think. Yeah, right. Yeah, Jeff sent me an email. He was due at the Wilton Observatory at 4 o'clock today, so he'll try to be here at the meeting on time, but he wasn't sure.
how's his work going there? Is he getting the issues resolved?
One of his Facebook's posts said he was having some issues, but he hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't said the same since. So man, I don't know. So sounds like they're trying to get that observatory pretty much fully automated. I wouldn't be know where to begin to do that. There we go. Mike, John, how's it going? Mike, John, Steve, how's it going?
Good. We
Good.
had a good night with the Cub Scouts, so that the moon kind of spoiled things a little bit, but it was still a good evening.
That's good.
So they seemed interested. I had them out talking there, and they were all attentive and everything. So that was good.
Very nice.
So, make their minds think a little bit.
Good.
I remember some of the basic things that drew me into the astronomy field was when people would talk, as I talked the other night, just simple things that you don't even have a clue what's out there in the universe, in the galaxies and so forth. And to this day, it still resonates in my mind what kind of got my interest, and I kind of passed on the same things. And it seems like probably not quite 20 people there the other night, but they did listen, and it seemed like they were absorbing some of it.
Very good.
So
Steve?
Hi there. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I got a new phone, and I got my old phone got all waterlogged, and I'm just trying to figure it out. I really am. So me and technology. So I'm still using Flintstones stone tablets and chisels, right? Sometimes. So
Can't get the hang of these newfangled contraptions, can you?
yeah, fangled yeah.
I think I still don't know half of what my smartphone can do.
I had one of the oldest smartphones, and I loved it. It just slipped in my pocket. Didn't have any trouble with it. And I got in the summer, I didn't get COVID, but I got a like a cough kind of a thing, like a expectorating cough or what have you. And I mean, I was sick for 3 weeks, and I went down and I got checked for COVID, and they said no. And they just said, and I didn't have any of those outer space symptoms like loss of taste or anything like that. But so you drink a lot of fluids when you have a cold, and I set my phone right next to the glass, and then the glass sweat, and then the sweat from the glass dripped down to the table, and then the phone was right next to the glass, and all that sweat from the glass went right into the phone, and it wicked right into the phone. I lost my headphones. I lost my like the charger cable. I mean, none of that worked after that, even on other phones. I mean, the phone, and then I even opened up the phone. I did the bowl of rice trick that everybody says, and I even opened up the phone and bought a repair kit, even put a new battery in it. Nothing worked. So I didn't even have a phone for about a month. I really didn't miss it either,
It was liberating.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know what? There was a day that we didn't use these.
Yeah.
And plus it was summer, and I was doing a lot of home repairs here, and I got a downstairs bathroom done, which was a miracle in itself. And so anyway,
Next
I was telling John I didn't think there'd be a meeting this month because there was that Eastern Iowa Star party that I was out of town that week, so I just didn't know if we were going to have a meeting tonight at all.
we're having it.
Okay.
Hey, Steve, I have a question on the 20-inch, if you got a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
The right ascension out there, in certain positions, it's just really loose. And just the weight of the camera will drag the top down a little bit. In other positions, it's really tight. You know what might be causing that?
I'm thinking about it. As long as the tension on all the gear, there's like 6 or 8, tensions on the slip clutch. That's number one. Okay.
Right. if I clamp those down tighter, it seems to help, but then in the places where it was tight, it's even tighter, almost too tight.
Really?
So,
Yeah, the thing is that, you know, that the shaft is an 1.25 inch shaft that comes out, or 1.5 inch shaft or whatever that comes out of the main shaft. And I don't know the run out, if anybody's ever measured the run out on that, you know what I'm saying? Is that the real shaft is what, about 4 or 5 inches in diameter. So, and then that's just an extension that comes out of the center. So how well is it centered? You know, oh, here you've got a gear that's this machined to you know, like a 10,000s, you know, and everything else is pretty much pretty
greenhouse gas emissions in an effort to fight climate change and yes, to protect their
pretty
own.
ugly.
Last
So,
year, had
you
20
know,
climate disasters with price tags of at least $1 billion. That's the most on record, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
and you don't think it's having anything to do with balance, huh?
Volatile weather that comes
that
with it.
might be part of it.
Itself. So we called up Bill Kirk. He's the CEO
See,
of
because
West
when we were doing the fork,
Pennsylvania,
when we were playing around with the fork,
like how the weather.
you know, the one side of the fork was
Power
a little heavier than the other side of the fork. And then there were weight plates that they put on the one side of the fork to counteract it. And you know, you're supposed to loosen all that stuff up and then adjust the weights. And then, you know, it might be slightly biased towards the east heavy, slightly east heavy. And that way the gear is always pushing it, you know, to the west.
Right.
So you don't really have that problem with that gear too much because it's so solid, but
offering predictions up to a year out.
huh. I don't ever remember having a tightness problem though on it.
Well, I think I'm having the tightness problems because I have those screws cranked down pretty good. And
Ooh.
trying to keep it from slipping by itself in the other position.
Mm. Well, if you want to get it, you can always put another weight on the other focuser.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I actually did put a weight on the back end of it, a small weight, just hung it there, and it seemed to help a little bit. But it's still, you know, one position is really tough to move, another position it's almost too easy to move.
Mm. Hey man, I can go up there and take a look at it. I mean, I haven't been up there. I really have not been up there since the night you and I just threw it together. You know.
Yeah.
One of these days, I have to look into how to create breakout rooms during these meetings.
That rely on a lot of foot traffic. That foot traffic can really disappear in extreme weather. And I wonder how you help those businesses.
So whoever
Paul.
has the background about foot traffic they need to turn
Paul.
that down.
It's Italian ice, right? So an outdoor venue, you got to stand in line outside. So if it's really rainy, these Italian ice stops.
Yeah.
Paul,
You want me?
is that you? Is that your background?
What background?
You've got like a news documentary going on in the background.
No, it's a couch, not me. A news documentary?
Somebody's talking was.
Oh, I think you can hear my radio. I should turn that off or mute myself. Sorry.
You can still hear it.
No, you can't.
There you
Correct.
go. Much better.
I got it. Yes.
Yeah, my fault. I should mute my here. Now you can't hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So, hey, it's 6:54. So, the meeting hasn't started yet, right?
Not yet. No.
So, you know, I don't get involved in this stuff too much anymore, but what I just wanted to say is that so I got a scope for sale, and I know that's part of the agenda, and that's the real reason why I'm here. I just wanted to list one of my scopes, see if anybody's interested in it locally. That's all.
Give me the specs, all included in the gear for sale section of the meeting.
Okay. You want it now, or do you want it like in an email, or?
Either or.
Okay. So I have an I was over at Augustana, and one of the instructors over at Augustana College had a scope for sale. It was a astrophysics traveler. So it's a 102 EDF. So it's a 4-inch f6 refractor.
4-inch f6 refractor.
So it's astrophysics
Mhm.
is the company.
Traveler 102 EDF.
Yep.
4-inch f6 refractor.
F6
F6 refractor.
refractor. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know what else to say about it.
So you got it from this Augustana instructor?
Yeah, I've had it for like 10 years, and he had it. So and it was in real good condition, which means I got a chance to look at it, or look through it before I bought it. John Baker's taken a lot of photographs through it.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I piggyback it up on the 20? But I'm just not into the astrophotography thing. I mean, I have a camera and I have taken pictures, and it's kind of interesting to me. It's something that's, but not to the point where of keeping this,
What are you asking for?
Well, one of the problems with the scope is it's one of the most sought after telescopes that was ever made. Okay. And it's because it's made by astrophysics, and it's like a triplet, it's an oil space triplet. So, and they only made like 500 of these ever. And it's made with a really robust, heavy duty, tube. So it's made for like world travel is what it is. And, I could easily sell it on the internet, but I thought, what, then you got to list it and you got to insure it and all that stuff for a high dollar and all that stuff. But, I'm asking $4,500 for it, which is below the going rate, through the internet. So somebody can buy it, use it for a year or something like that, sell it on the internet, and even, probably make a few bucks on it.
I'll trade you for my 6-inch refractor lens.
Yeah. Yeah, I still think that lens has got potential, but what I'll do, Robert, is I'll send you some photographs or something. I don't know if that'll help you out or not.
I can send them out in a general email.
Yeah. It's a nice little scope, and it's just that I just don't, I get into like binocular observing in the backyard, or working on the 20, it's one or the other. I thought Rutenbeck would buy it for sure. No bites.
Is that him now? Is that him down there?
Yeah, no, it's a very desirable telescope. I don't know. I just have so many. It's where do you spend your money?
Right.
Oh,
So anyway, it's worth a shot.
I'll spread the word.
Okay. Actually, I've had a lot of luck. I've had a lot of fun and a lot of luck lately with I think I got 1 minute before we start here. Is it
About a minute.
yeah.
Well,
I've been-
we don't usually start exactly on time, just in
Yeah.
case we have stragglers.
I've I've been doing those Astronomical League double binocular double stars and telescopic double stars. And I'm not necessarily doing them for like a certificate, but I do them like in a certificate format. And it is really interesting. It is. It's they actually give you a task rather than just going out and look at the moon, look at Saturn and Jupiter, or taking some pictures. And I think so I made some worksheets up, and I found it it's very interesting. So
Oh,
Oh, I'm not on mute. I thought I was on mute.
no, we can hear. Good to see you again, Paul.
Good to see you, Dr. Mitchell. How are you?
Is that your baby?
So this is Hudson. He's tomorrow it'll be 2 weeks old.
2 weeks. Holy man.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes,
Did I hear there's a telescope you didn't buy?
Well, for him, maybe a spyglass.
so Paul,
If
you
had
moved
the-
to like North Carolina.
Yes, I am in North Carolina.
So and you sold your house here.
Yes.
Okay, so you are really there.
Oh yeah. I bought a house here, sight unseen, totally, and it's worked out pretty good.
Okay.
It's I'm in Mooresville, so I'd never heard of it before, but apparently a lot of race car people, drivers, owners
I've heard that.
are headquartered here in Mooresville.
They all
Actually,
talk about
it's-
Lipinski.
It's kind of funny, just a couple miles down the road from our house, there's this huge old barn that's like decrepit, falling over, looks totally, horrific, should not be there. And, I didn't know why it was still there. And then I found out that it's the Robert Duvall barn from Days of Thunder. And it's a place people like to go and take selfies. So they just left it up. All right.
North Carolina's Field of Dreams.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get started. Let's see. Jeff, glad you made it. Glad you made it.
Yeah, me too. I got home about 5 minutes before I logged in.
So how's it going at Wilton?
Huge learning curve. I spent all day working on that Boltwood weather station things are connected up to. No, it's all quite a challenge, but it's interesting.
Sounds good. All right. Let's see here. Call the meeting to order. And did everyone get the agenda that I sent out?
I did. Yep.
Okay. So, as usual, the previous month's meeting has been posted on the Ambrose Astro YouTube channel. So we'll take that, use that as the minutes of the previous meeting. So, all in favor of accepting that recording as the minutes?
I
All right. So was I supposed to make a motion and ask for a second?
Yeah, but
That's okay.
we can do it backwards. Now ask for a second, then ask for the motion.
I second.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Why they call them Robert's Rules of Order, I'll never know.
Well, you're Robert.
And I really wish they would, and I really wish they wouldn't keep dragging my name into it.
You can put them in your order.
Okay, so now we got that out of the way. So previous events. So St. Ambrose's last public night at Menke Observatory was August 14th. That was before the start of the work weeks. That was before the start of the new semester, so it's totally been erased from my mind. And any comments on it?
I hate to say it, I don't remember that far back.
Good, then we're not alone.
I have enough trouble remembering yesterday.
Well, how well does PAC remember their public night, August 21st?
Oh, pretty well. Got a few, took a few pictures. That's something you would want to see.
We can spare a minute.
Okay. Let's see here. I got to figure out how to do that now.
I said a minute.
It'll take me a minute. It'll take me a minute to, wait, I can't share.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
There you go. I wish we defaulted to let everyone share, but for some reason this won't let me do that.
Okay, there we go. Let's see here. And let's see.
Your magic quadrant for meeting solutions.
Can you see that?
Looks like you had quite a few kids at that. They had the
Yeah, we had
outing.
the Cub Scouts there.
That was probably the same, might have been the same group that came out to your place. I don't know. But yeah, we had quite a few kids that evening. And we had quite a few club members came out too. The people basically with the blue shirts with the PAC logos on it were out there. So we had, I don't know, Rusty, how many telescopes did we have set up? I don't remember. Quite a few.
I think we had about 7 or 8 of them that night.
Yeah.
Very good.
And let's see here. How in the heck can I make that go to the next picture? Ah, here. That's the only astro photo that I have from the evening is just a picture we took of Saturn overexposed to see the moons.
Mm. Even got Iapetus.
Yeah, yeah. But you'd never know it unless you checked it on Stellarium, but
yeah.
But that was pretty amazing to throw that picture up on our flat screen. For people that were out there, they were shocked that all these moons are out there orbiting.
Yep. Very good.
That was the 21st, and then I don't know, maybe I'm jumping ahead here, but as long as I got it. Here was last Saturday at Niabe.
Yes, I saw the email you sent out about that. It's like around 100 people total.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody's really got a good handle on that or not, but there were a lot of people out there. It was a beautiful night. People were really, really enthusiastic. We were looking at the moon, and you know, we got that flat screen TV back here behind that Alex's head there, but using that to zoom down into craters and things like that, it's really pretty spectacular.
That flat screen, is it like on an arm or something that you fold
Yeah.
it back inside the PACMO when you're done with it?
Yeah, normally it would be flat against the wall on the inside, but Rusty designed that so that it could be flipped around 180 degrees and brought outside through the doorway there.
Huh.
And the trick then is you don't want people walking in there. And that's basically what we've been doing is doing a lot more video screen astronomy so that people aren't, especially with large groups like this, we can show a large group the same thing and we can describe what we're talking about, what they should be seeing, like Saturn's rings, things like that. And if people are wanting to socially distance, they can. They don't have to wear masks, but some did. Most probably didn't, but we're not really touching the equipment very much. So I think it's a little more socially safe.
Yeah, so we're trying to set up something similar at Menke Observatory, although our flat screen is inside the classroom.
Yeah. This flat screen is, I don't know what size it is. It's probably about a
32 inch.
32 inch. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big enough. Actually, it's big enough. You don't really want to stand very close to it because it's so bright. And the resolution isn't as good when you're standing too close. It's really better if you're standing back about 15 or 20 feet away from it. It actually looks really nice from a distance. I'll just have we had a few pictures in here. This is Epsilon Lyrae, the double.
Yes.
Jupiter with the Io transit. And people were really amazed at that too, that you could actually see that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And then just one quick snapshot of M13, not the best picture in the world, but for people that have never seen M13 before, you see that on the screen like that, it just knocks people over.
Alan, your Jupiter, that was with your DSLR?
Yeah. Yeah, everything I do is with the DSLR.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this though. This is that's 1 minute of video frames stacked, picking the 200 best frames and stacking those. So it does clarify things a little bit.
What percent was that? Did you?
Oh, well, it's probably about, I don't remember, 1,500 frames total. And some of them were so blurry you couldn't see anything. So
Like 10, 15%, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And
I'd like to try it. I'm just, the one time I tried to do planetary, it was such an epic failure. I never tried again.
Oh yeah, most of the times it doesn't work real well, but I've been experimenting and I have a dispersion corrector, which I think really helps. And getting the right magnification is important too. And that's where it's good if you have a long focal length telescope, like the PACMO scope is 3,048 millimeters. You don't need a whole lot of magnification there to get a decent sized Jupiter or Saturn on a DSLR, but your sensor is so big on a DSLR, you really ought to use a Barlow or eyepiece projection to get it. This was with 11 millimeter eyepiece in there with a 3,048 millimeter telescope. So you do the math. I mean, it's close to 300 power. So it's kind of tough. It is tough. And it's it really depends on conditions too. If your conditions aren't very good, you're not going to get that kind of image. We don't get pictures like that every time.
Yeah, Alan, it looks like you're getting really good results. And I know other people have commented that too, that have seen the PACMobile in operation. Maybe we could get you to make a presentation on your technique and how you do it.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have some openings in future meetings.
Anytime, let me know.
Sounds great.
We'll work on that. Yeah, yeah, be great. All right. What else was happening?
Yeah, I have often thought that we need to get Al to do a planetary because it's mystifying. The software, you know, it's not the most user friendly. The sliders, even the ones you watch on YouTube, people are like, and then I move this slider. I don't know what it means, but I just kind of move it around until it gets better. And you know, it's not like there's a manual for this stuff. It's just people that have figured it out. I would love to learn from, especially in similar skies and similar equipment.
And I guess to add to that, there are some other people in the club too that have successfully been doing planetary imaging. So if other people, I know John Baker, for example, has been using a DSLR. So if we wanted to have 2 or 3 people go together and make a presentation, that'd be another option.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I've dabbled a bit in that myself. All right. Now, August 28th, QCAS had a public night at Menke Observatory. I think we had some people come from the public out for that one, including the family of one of my fellow professors in the engineering department at Ambrose, who said that she'd like to come out again to the October 2nd one. And then, yes, September Labor Day weekend, Eastern Iowa Star Party. One of the highlights of that was Cecil bringing his 30-inch back into the fold. Cecil, on behalf of everyone, we really enjoyed having that out there. So Friday's weather was a bust. Saturday, skies were clear, but everyone was telling me that it dewed up pretty quickly.
Badly.
I swear, even the inside of the dome was soaking wet. In fact, it was so wet, the motor couldn't grab onto the dome anymore and turn it.
Yeah, I heard it was even before sunset. It was already getting dewy. It was just nuts.
Doubt it. And Sunday,
Buy a dew heater for the.
and then Sunday, we had those clouds come over for a couple of hours, but I think it was starting to clear up by the time I around midnight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So how did the rest of that night go?
Oh, I got some good pictures that night.
That's good.
The Saturday night wasn't even really that bad until about 11:30 is when the dew really kind of started doing its thing.
Yeah, well, I was able to get some decent spectroscopy just before that happened. Yeah, I dabbled with the R-spec diffraction grading in my DSLR for a little while. Got and what were some other people able to image over EISP?
I got the Western Veil and Andromeda. And
Rusty, I got your Andromeda.
yeah, Al's got my pictures if you guys want to see them.
Want to see him?
Sure.
I think I got him here.
He can bring them up a lot quicker than I can.
Well, if I could remember how to do the screen sharing. I think these are all yours here, Rusty.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the Andromeda that I got.
That
That's
is
incredible.
good. Yes. That's textbook quality. That's what it is.
That's not your CPC. What are you using? There?
Nope. I got an 8-inch Orion astrograph Newtonian.
Okay. Oh, wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, I just got it not too long ago.
What's the focal ratio on that? Is it 3.9?
Yes,
What's this?
Oh, some globular
M39.
open clusters.
Huh.
That's the Pleiades.
Nice.
Nice
Nice.
nebulosity in that one.
Yeah, look at the coloration too. That's just
Yes.
really, really nice. I like this, the spikes too on the stars. M103. The moon.
The evil orb.
That's nice. What is that? 800 millimeter focal length?
Yeah,
That
And
much
that-
of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the
Oh, that's the owl cluster.
owl cluster. Yeah, or the ET cluster.
Yeah.
NGC 457. Nice.
I was gonna say that phase of the moon, that does explain the sky glow I'm seeing in those photos.
And this is NGC
Yeah.
6888.
yeah, that's the crest.
That's the what's this
That's
one
the
called?
crescent. The crescent.
Crescent?
Yeah.
Crescent, yeah.
Look how far I can magnify that and not degrade the image.
Yes. Is that a planetary or a supernova remnant?
That I don't remember.
If it's a planetary, it's a big one.
Hmm.
And that's the witch's broom, right?
Yeah, the Western Veil.
Yep.
I know that's a supernova remnant, a really old one.
I think that's all I had here, Rusty.
Yeah,
You probably
only
sent
4
me-
of those I got at the Eastern Iowa Star Party. The other ones were out at the Paul Castle Observatory.
Okay.
Yep. That's all I had, Rusty. I think you probably had more than that, but that's all only ones I've got handy.
They're very good.
Yeah, very good.
Thanks. Getting more practice.
Yes. And then PAC had their monthly meeting on the 13th. So there was a smorgasbord meeting, a whole bunch of small talks.
Yeah. If you permit me just a second here, I'll share my screen again here. And this was the agenda that we had for the meeting. It was a business meeting. And I won't bore you with that. That's just kind of a thing we do quarterly just to go through, you know, our finances and any projects we have going. And then the other thing was to talk about the banquet, and that's why I wanted to put this up here. And just invite everybody here that's available that wants to come to the PAC banquet. The banquet is on October 23rd at the Riverfront Grill in Rock Island. And basically the agenda for that is going to be, we're going to start at around 5:30 with social time. And we'll have a buffet dinner at 6. And then at 7 o'clock, we're going to have a evening speaker. Dr. Russet McMillan is going to speak. And then we'll have awards and door prizes like we typically do. And hopefully we'll adjourn around 9 o'clock.
What day of the week is that?
That's a Saturday night.
Okay.
And Dr. Russell McMillan is an astronomer and astrophysicist at the what's the observatory? I can't see it here. Apache Point Observatory in New Mexico. And she uses lasers. She's got a telescope. I forget how big it is. It's like 2 or 3 meter mirror on it. It's a large telescope. But what they do is they have a fairly powerful laser that they fire backwards through that telescope, and they beam it out to the moon and bounce off the retroreflectors on the surface of the moon that were left there by the Apollo astronauts. And then they hope to catch 1 or 2 of those photons when they come back. And they use that to laser range find basically the moon. And there's been a lot of science done with that. They're still doing it, actually. So I'd like, like I say, I'd like to invite anybody that wants to sign up for this. I can send the RSVP out if you want it. I can do that. It's also in our PAC newsletter. And anyway, we need reservations for that by the 9th. And we need to pay in advance because we have to order the food in advance for that. So they've got enough for everybody. So I'm sorry for jumping ahead there a little bit, Robert, but you had that on the agenda. So it is October 23rd. I think you showed it as the 18th, but it's the 23rd.
Typo on my part.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and we had a smorgasbord. One of the speakers didn't come. Charlie Miller has built a planetarium projector. He was going to talk to us about that, but we're going to schedule him to do that for a future meeting. And we had some interesting talks by the other folks listed there.
And you did email the link to the recording of the meeting.
Yeah, that's right. The meeting is out there on our PAC YouTube. So you can go out and look at the meeting.
All right.
I think I got most of it.
Very interesting. And then finally, past events. This past Saturday, some QCAS members went out to Menke to host a sort of private star party for, I think it was Scout Troop 123.
I think he said 46.
46. So so how did that go? Any comments on it?
Well, we needed more time. They wanted to stay later themselves, and we did stay just a little bit late, but the adults wanted to get them back to the cabin to get to sleep because they were leaving in the morning. But I wrote up kind of a blurb on Facebook about it, but I think there was about 17 kids and then 4 adults because we had one standing. And then, of course, Mike Dannenfeld, Sam Santiago, and Rolando Gamino were there with me and did a lot of stuff. But we gave them a talk inside for a little bit. And then Mike, Sam, and Rolando took them outside and gave them a little tour of what you could see with the moonlit sky. They talked quite a bit about stuff. Kids brought up stuff about binary star systems and stuff like that. And we talked on that a little bit. They loved the roll-off building, the roof coming off. And
yes,
they all knew it was going to happen, but they couldn't imagine how it was going to happen or what it would look like because they were kind of surprised. Then we went inside and they saw that moon presentation and we talked about that some. Then they had a bunch of questions that we went over, talked a little bit about light pollution, went inside the dome and took a look at Jupiter and Saturn and the moon, and they were all really incredible. It was a really good night last night for that. I actually had never seen the moon look like that. It looked like photographs of it. It was really nice steel gray Maria. The craters were real defined. So your scope did a good job. So
Glad to hear it.
so yeah, they were really, really happy with it all. I volunteered that we could come into town, and if they had scout badges they need to do that, we could meet up with them and help them get through that. I invited the kids to talk to their science teachers to see if they wanted us to stop out and give some talks and stuff. So it was a good time.
I'm glad they enjoyed it. Because
Yeah.
guess what? I got an email earlier today from Atana Lisk. She's got some Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts who are interested in planning a trip and was asking for me. I was wondering if maybe I could steer them toward one of our regular star parties at Menke.
Yeah, you could always offer them the regular public nights at Mankey or QCS. I mean, that's what they're there for.
Yes.
And then if they need something a little bit different, we can always do that too. After the experience Saturday with these scouts, I'd like to shy away with that much moonlight though. Mike Dannenfeld's got an incredible method of presenting stuff in the sky, but you could barely see anything. So
Agreed. Yeah. Well, this scout troop, their schedule sounded like it was fixed. This one, from Tana Lisk, not so much. Didn't give any. Asked me for available dates, so I think we can definitely be more flexible with them.
I know that if we do another one with this much moonlight, I would really like to concentrate on that moon presentation I did and see if they can bring binoculars if they have them, because then we can actually do what I expected the program to do, where they'd see that we would take them outside and we'd ask them to find stuff and they could write it on those those sun maps. You know, it's that big circle. They could kind of freehand their own thing and take the map that I've got out there. And so, you know, it'd be a really good thing to do. And it would have worked well with that much moonlight. I mean, there's really not a lot else you can do. So.
Well, yeah, anyway, I'll respond and give her some proposals.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, anything else about past events? On upcoming events, QCAS's next public night is September 25th. That's this coming Saturday. So far, the weather sounded good for it, and it's even supposed to cool off quite a bit. They're talking about lows in the 50s or even upper 40s by then.
Yeah, and we've got a number of people. We've got a number of people said that we're going to show up for that. So I expect Pleasant Valley High School to be out there that night, and also I think some of the scouts said they were going to come back for that.
Good. And then Ambrose's last public night for this season is October 2nd. And that's during Ambrose's homecoming week. And I'm told that the Alumni Association is going to help us promote it. So hopefully we'll get a pretty good turnout for that one. And then October 9th is QCAS's next public night out at Menke. I just managed to get them over only 2 weeks apart. And then PAC is having their next public night October 16th. And then, as Alan pointed out a little earlier, October 23rd is PAC's annual banquet. I want to ask this grill that it's taking place at, do they have a mask mandate there?
Yes. I think they do. It's in Illinois, so I'm assuming.
Just asking if I should be prepared to bring one.
Yeah, I would bring a mask. I always carry a mask with me everywhere I go, but I don't use it unless I have to. But yeah, I would recommend you bring a mask. I hope the restaurants stay open, but it looks like they're going to. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we don't have to cancel the banquet meal. But nonetheless, even if we do, of course, we'd have to refund everybody's reservation money, but we could still have the meeting remotely, and we will anyway, basically, because Dr. McMillan is going to be attending via Zoom. So
Yes. Oh, but she's attending by Zoom, even if the banquet's in person.
yeah, she's
Okay.
she's not planning to travel to the Quad Cities for the event. She lives
Okay.
in New Mexico.
All right. Okay.
I should have stated that.
Yep. Just for the record, even though some of us in Iowa do carry masks around everywhere as well. And that's all right. All right. Anybody bought any new gear recently?
I got a few things. I bought the 2600 ZWO 2600 mono, and with a 2-inch filter wheel. So I have it right here. I can't believe how enormous this thing is. But oh, well, I can't really see it.
Two-inch filters.
Yeah, so I bought a 2-inch filter wheel, and I only have narrowband filters right now. I bought Leah. I was talking to somebody, I think it was at OPT, trying to figure out, what's in stock, because that's the adventure. And he kind of recommended Aunt Leah, kind of a newer company, and their price point for 3 nanometer, for performance, they thought was really in a league of their own. So probably not as nice as like a Chroma, but they're like half the price. And I've liked the results so far. It's been it's something new working with narrowband filters and doing processing. But Astropixel processor, what we learned in the 5th workshop was all about doing Hubble palette using Astropixel processor. And I had mixed results because there's really no magic. You just kind of have to learn how to process it. It's, you do it just like he did on the elephant's trunk, but you have different data, different objects. It just takes some time. I have a focal reducer finally coming for my Explore Scientific 127. So I'm looking forward to try to get the backspace for that, and have some clear skies coming this weekend, so might be able to set up for a little bit.
Is that a dedicated one for the 127, or is it a generic one?
It's the Explore Scientific. So
yeah, but I thought the Explorer Scientific didn't have a reducer for their 127.
They do. So it's for the 127 and the 154, and it's for a 3-inch. So
right. They don't have a specific one for the 2-inch focuser. They only have the one for the 3, and you need some adapters.
I have a 2.5-inch hex focuser, and there's an $80 adapter that you can get to attach the focal reducer to the hex focuser. And there is a new adapter to connect to a 2-inch that I saw on their website. So, when you read the description on the Explorer Scientific focal reducer, it says it was made for f8, but it works also for f7.5. And I've always kind of scratched my head. I'm like, you've been saying that for 6 years and you haven't made an f8 refractor, and I can't see one, so I don't know why they just don't make one for 7.5, but whatever, it works. And I'm looking forward to it. And I was doing the math last night, and it at a 0.7, it doubles basically the light. So it'll be kind of fun. And then it for 127, I'm really kind of excited about the objects that it brings into frame. Orion and the Running Man are going to frame a lot better. I think the Pleiades will fit entirely. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what I can do with that. And then I bought a dew heater, and finding straps for both the 127 and my finder scope. I had to go, it was 3 different companies to find all 3 parts. The controller, I think I got an Astro, I forget what it was, AstroZap or something like that. It was the cheapest one, but nobody has them in stock. But I found some. I don't know, anything else? Yeah. I don't know. I can share a couple pictures real quick that I took.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my first light, I wanted to get the bubble because I've always liked. Is it working?
No,
Not yet. Not yet.
no.
Oh, I got to hit share one more time. So I really wanted to get the bubble nebula, and I went to what I thought was the bubble nebula. It's really hard to frame and focus through narrowband filters. I don't know if how many people have done it, but there's no light. You might see 3 stars. It's just nuts. And I think the downside about the 2600, it's really bizarre, but unity gain is 100, and it doesn't allow you to go higher. It's just not in the driver. So I've been using Sequence Generator Pro, and the slider is at 100. So it's not like other dedicated astronomy cameras where you can just crank it to 500 for framing and focusing. So anyways, this is what I thought was the bubble, and it is not the bubble. I put it into a website that looks at the stars and tells you what you're imaging, and it was some obscure NGC object that I'd never heard of. So this is the not bubble. I don't know what it is, but not the bubble.
It's a good name for it.
But here's my Western Veil. And this was just hydrogen, oxygen. I didn't do sulfur. I don't know how it looks kind of bizarre, I think, in the Hubble palette. It's a really good HOO palette. Here's the Eastern Veil. Elephant's Trunk. Here. Eagle Nebula, which I was kind of pleased how that turned out. My focus wasn't great, and I'm north of Charlotte, so I'm shooting right through the Charlotte light pollution.
Excellent.
To the south. I tried the helix, and I just couldn't even get the frames to stack because of the light pollution. And then here's the crescent that I'm really pleased with. I wanted to get that blue that you see in the oxygen, and I started, I don't know how well you can see it, but in just a couple hours I was able to get some of that blue to come through, so I was pretty pleased. I think that's, oh, and here's the bubble. I finally found it, and processed it a couple different ways, I think. But yeah, it's a pretty nice camera.
Very good.
Okay. I just looked up the Crescent Nebula on the internet to see it's an emission nebula created by a really strong stellar wind from a really hot star. So
yeah, it's a neat object, and Matt kind of said it the best. It's an object that just keeps on giving. 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. It's worthwhile because you just see more and more detail. Either on the inside or the exterior. Really neat. It's up near the Veil Nebula, kind of, in Cygnus, I think.
nice. All right. Any other new gear?
I got a 60mm guide scope and a ZWO 120 mini camera to use with it. So that's how I got those 4 pictures out of Eastern Iowa Star Party.
Okay. Anyone else? Any gear for sale? Steve Van Hefty, I don't know if you caught him just before the meeting. He's offering an Astrophysics Traveler 102 EDF 4-inch f6 refractor.
I don't have one for sale, but I have one that I would like to find a new home for. One of the former members of QCAS, named Carl Walker. Some of the old members may remember him.
I do.
As he had he has done anymore. I've got it, but a 12-inch Dobsonian that he built. Now I have used this and it actually works rather unbelievably. You've just got quite an image. And so I have no place for it. It's really not my cup of tea. So if anybody is interested in it and would like to have it, let me know and I will meet you where it's at and you can have it. The mirror isn't perfect, but it does work rather well. So again, anybody that wants it can have it. It's for free. He donated me all of his astronomy gear when he passed away a number of years ago. And that was how I ended up. So.
Well,
So
anyone
Rusty,
interested?
Well, I would say,
Is that-
Rusty, that's a real generous offer that Rusty's making. And if somebody here wants it, jump on it, go for it. If they don't, another idea would be to donate it to either the PAC or the QCAS. And we could try to somehow get some money out of it, whether that's sell it or raffle it or whatever. So just a
Yeah.
few more ideas.
What did I miss? I'm sorry. What's for sale?
Oh, sorry, you're out.
Unless you want to drive all the way back here, it's a free telescope.
A 12-inch Dob.
Homemade.
Yeah. It looks a lot like Cecil's 30-inch, only a lot smaller.
All right.
A lot smaller.
Is that the white one that was in the corner of the blockhouse?
No,
Okay, something else.
storage unit.
It was made by a former QCAS member named Carl Walker. Yeah. I think he retired from the club a few years after I joined. Cecil, you probably remember him.
Yeah, I told you that I ended up getting a Sky Commander. He gave it to me. That's right. That's right. That's where I got it. So I remember Carl.
The old guard. Right. Any other gear for sale or for donation?
And does anybody in the club have an iOptron mount?
Oh, I've got one of the blue cubes.
I've got one. I've got two of them.
Okay, I was looking at I think what it's called, the C, what is it called?
I've got a CEM 40.
40?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was reading about the 45, I think that is pretty new. And there's just a lot of unique stuff that iOptron does, but
Well, if you were in the Quad Cities, I'd let you use it.
Oh, that would be very cool.
But I sent it in for a tune-up. It came back. I had to send it back again, but it's working really well. So I had my 115 refractor on it, the Astrotech,
Okay.
and it had no problem with that at all.
No.
Around.
Which one is it again?
The Ioptron?
Yeah.
It's the CEM40.
CE.
Yeah.
So is that like it's got like a center gravity? It's something I didn't understand what that was.
Yes, it's the center equatorial mount.
Okay.
Yep.
So not German
They call
equatorial,
it-
but
They call it a center balanced equatorial mount.
Right. So they got a 60, I think they got a 60, a 70. They got bigger ones too, but I think 40 is the small, and I think there's a 45, like you said.
well, I was looking at the German equatorial 45. And it even it has like a built-in polar scope. It's got a built-in guide scope and camera, and it uses internal cabling. So it's like one USB and you get everything. Looks really, really slick.
Yeah, so the one I have, it's got the, so yes, it's got its own polar alignment camera in it. And you cover it up so you can get a dark plate, then you open it up and then you just adjust it and you'll just see a crosshair and a dot. And once they get close to each other, it turns green and you're polar aligned.
Wow. That's the iPolar or whatever.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch a video on that to see if it's easier than the Polemaster, which I find pretty simple.
Yeah, the Polemaster is pretty easy too.
But so if you can do Polemaster, you can do iPolar.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the iPolar is even easier.
Yeah, it's just, you just line up two dots. I think you cover the Polaris over with the red dot, and it's so simple that if I was to buy a polar alignment, I would definitely go with the Ioptron.
Okay.
But I've never tried it, but boy, it really looks simple in the video.
Well, the only other thing I was considering was the Celestron CGX, and they put a handle in front of where you would put the Polemaster. So people are like 3D printing their own adapters, but that's not anything you want to be off a little bit on. So I'm not crazy about that idea. And you know, I just was reading about the Ioptron last night. I think Jim recommended it, and it looks pretty slick. I think.
Yeah,
I used one on High Point right now that I was.
So also that it doesn't matter if it's aligned or not.
Right.
The Polemaster will give you a good alignment no matter. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's all a matter of math, right? It just finds points for reference and it calculates all off of that reference. So it doesn't matter what the reference is.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you had like your Polemaster in, but it was in crooked or something like that, you're going to be off.
But I'm saying, even if it's crooked, it still works.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's crooked as long as you don't move it while you're doing the process.
Okay.
If you're off 10 degrees one direction, it compensates 180 degrees for that 10 degrees because that's also off then.
Okay.
So I also have another Ioptron, but it's a IEQ30, which is an equatorial one. And it's fine too. It works really well.
30. Okay.
So if you were in the Quad Cities, I'd let you.
No, I want to try them all out. That's cool. I'll pick your brain if I end up grabbing it because it's just sitting there.
Sure.
$500 off on High Point right now.
Okay. All right. Time for our main presentation, which is on the latest action that that is underway on expanding the Menke Observatory. One I can tell you about is that we have made arrangements with a cement person who is kind of making it sound like leaning toward the end of October that they'll be able to come in and lay down the cement work for the new building, parenthesis S. I will let the other members of the board go into details about it. Jeff, Jim, Mike.
I contacted Dan, our concrete guy. I would say probably could even be 3 weeks ago. And at that time, we had kind of never gave him an okay because we couldn't decide what we really wanted to do. So it's getting later and later in the year. And he told me that he would try to get there, but he's, not a super big contractor, but he's just definitely not a small guy either. So he's got, I would say, 4 or 5 guys that work for him and quite a bit of equipment. And he said, all I can do now is try to get there, and hopefully we don't get a bunch of rain that slows my other jobs down. But he says, you are on the list. But he said, even if it gets into November, he's got these concrete blankets that he can put over it. And he'll do everything he can to get to us. And like I said, that was probably about 3 weeks ago on a Saturday that I last talked to him. And I am going to call him around the 3rd or 4th, probably the 4th, I think, is a Monday. And I'm going to call him again and just reassure him that we are on board for the dome slab, 12-foot diameter, and then it squares off to the other end. And Dr. Mitchell, did you hear anything from Dave about placement of that, if it's all okay with him to where we put it, or what was last discussed? Because I think in one of our last get-togethers, you said you were going to try to get a hold of Dave to confirm this spot.
I did get a hold of him, and he said, basically just said that he's okay. Didn't go any more details than that, and he made it sound like he didn't feel like there was any need to have another meeting with us about it.
Okay, so when I talked to Dan here on October 3rd, just to reassure him and let him know that we're, he knows where to go, but I don't want him to put us on the back burner because he didn't hear from us, but I don't want to be a pest either. So when we get closer to his commitment, I've got to make the bird cage like Rusty made for the Pack Castle Pier. And I've already got that in my mind of how we're going to do that. And it won't probably take very long at all. And Jim and I want to get a final measurement out to Sherman Park for the diameter so that lip goes around the concrete slab properly. But it's going to have to probably be trimmed when it comes around where it meets the slab because of the elongated part. So anyway, that's all on board there as far as what we need to do to be ready. And then when we get to that close to where it's coming, is Dave usually out there in his office at the Wapsie Center?
I don't know how often he's in his office.
No, he's usually not there at all.
Okay. Is he at his house there? Is he the ranger?
No, he's not. He doesn't live on site.
Okay. Well, I just thought that, if it's not a big deal, that's fine. Jim and I will know when we see Dan, when he comes out there to do it. But, I just thought we'd just say a couple days before, Dave, if you want to, we're getting ready. We know where we want it, or, what we talked about. No need to come out, but, I'm just trying to back up everything.
It looks like I need to resend my last email to him. It was the email about asking about the precise boundaries of the land granted to us in the new lease. He never responded to that question.
Yeah, the 3 acres.
Yes.
But
Right.
Did you see the pictures that I sent out? I'm uploading them to my computer now, but they did all kinds of mowing over around there. West of Menke, all that grassed area, that's
Mhm.
probably 2/3 gone now.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know whether that's what he was planning on doing. And then that drive that kind of goes from the classroom north is about 3 times as wide as what it was. So I don't know what all's going on over there. So like I said, I'm
Yeah.
still uploading a few pictures to this computer and I can show those in a second.
Yes. Yeah, I'll ask Dave about that in my next email.
He rough cut it, so it's still got stubs that are about 6 inches tall, but it isn't 4 feet or more tall anymore.
Not now. If it's 6 inches tall, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, when I was driving out of there the other night, it looked like it was still, he had mowed it rough, but he definitely cut it down.
Yeah.
And it looks like, it isn't down to grass by any means. That I remember.
Yeah, this was Saturday when we were out there. And I actually stopped and drove around it because I couldn't believe what all had happened.
Yeah, he'd cut a lot. But some of that was north of that angled road that comes from the southwest to the northeast. Some of that was on the other side, I believe. When I went out Saturday night to leave, it looked like they had cut on the right side too.
Yeah. But he didn't cut anything east. And I don't think I don't think he did anything south.
Yeah.
But he did a whole bunch on the west side.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, this is Jim. The other thing I would add to what Mike had to say, he talked about the concrete. Once the concrete is put in place, we've asked John Baker and Dana to kind of take over the leadership of moving the dome from Sherman Park to Menke. The two of them were very involved in it before when we put it at Sherman. And I know there were a lot of other people in the club that were involved in that. And so they will recruit other people to help them. It'll certainly take more than 2 people to get it moved, but
of course,
we had asked them to kind of start off on it. So that's kind of the plan. Once we get the concrete poured, then we'll mobilize our members and move it. And, once we get the building there, that's just one more step in having the club be at the Menke Observatory. And I think the plan is, at least initially, to put the cave 12-inch that St. Ambrose into that building. Right now, it's kind of half the mount storage still in its roll off, and the telescope is stored in the roll, or in the classroom.
In the classroom storeroom, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
That's kind of the plan on that part of it.
One thing I did when I got out there early enough to have light, I measured the base roughly, and it looks like the cave mount is 7 inches by 10 inches for the bird cage. But we might want to think about what actual mounting bolts we really want. I know we can make adapter plates, but do we want to make it 10-inch square and put the 7-inch legs in there in the bird cage, which we could do, or for the 12-inch cave mount, or do we want something different? Do we want 12 by 12? I need to know that when I make this fixture. So something to think about.
Hey, Rusty, mine was 12 by 12 that you made for me, wasn't it? Do you remember?
I think so. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
Well. Okay,
We need to
so
make one to match the mount that's gonna be used.
Yeah, I think Mike was thinking about extra holes so that when we do something different, it's set up.
Oh. Well, I don't think extra holes really, you've already got the base and everything, and the lower part of the the tower, whatever you want to call it, you just need to put the bolts in the ground, in the concrete to match that mount. And then if you want to put something different on that, then you make a lower mount for a different scope and match the bolts to that. If you start making multiple holes and put multiple bolts in, you're going to run into a lot of problems. Because now every time you mount something, you've got to drill multiple holes in it instead of just 4.
Yeah, I understand that. So basically, we want to know the square rectangular plate we want to make, and then from there, it's going to be adapters.
Yeah. Well, just, take the original mount, or what was it, the 20-inch or 12-inch or whatever it was.
12-inch.
12-inch.
12-inch. We take that original mount and just get a piece of wood and
Yep.
the same dimension as that bottom plate on that mount. Mark the holes and cut those holes and use that as your top template.
Right.
Put those bolt or those that all thread you're going to mount in that concrete. Use that as the top of it, just to hold it
In place.
and then have your cross beams inside. That's going to go in the concrete. When the concrete sets, take the plywood off, put your pier on it.
Yep.
Ready to go.
Totally understand. So that'll be easy to do.
Yep.
All right, things are moving with this.
Since it's cooling off now, I would say right after the 1st of October, I got the wrenches and so forth. I wish I would have took the Allen wrenches out there, because that counterweight on that 12 inches, a big Allen set screw, and I know different sizes I got that are big, and we need to maybe take the rest of the cave mount apart so that then we can really make a template. If that's the bolt pattern we're going to use, and kind of disassemble the rest of that cave and take it out of there.
Looks like Jeff is starting to share the photos of the freshly mowed areas.
Yeah, all this area is all down over in here and way back here. So all this is new. And that's that drive that goes north. And he made an extra pass here. It kind of looks like a little bit. You can see how, this was, I think, like I said, this is that part that's, that farm was over in here. This is all gone.
Can you make these a little bigger?
Yeah. Let me see. I got so much stuff that is blocking. That any better?
Nothing's changed.
Then it must be, I'm full screening it on my computer. I don't know what you've got.
Oh, you're probably sharing the wrong screen.
Who, me?
You're sharing your.
I was sharing this, let me see here. Is that one any different?
There.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's facing
So
north.
this is the drive right here that we usually come in on. So this is all gone.
That's to the northwest.
Yes, northwest.
Now, I don't know why. I wonder what he's up to, or what the reasoning is behind that.
We don't know this. His mowing may have nothing to do with our request for the 3 acres. So we just don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I know.
I know they occasionally burn off the older prairie grass to make room for fresh. Of course, that doesn't look like it was burned. Maybe,
No.
of course,
no.
given current drought conditions, maybe he was afraid to try usual burning.
But over in here, it's way down, way back too. You can see these posts. I think where we planned on rolling off, I think that that's mowed now instead of over grass.
Hmm.
I couldn't tell, really exactly how much he gave us or, mowed, but it was surprising.
I'll ask him. I'll ask him about it. Anyway, so at the very least, we're going to lay the cement down for the new dome later this year, move the dome over. And we're still up in the air about what kind of cement foundation we're going to have for the new roll-off building. Quick question before we continue with that. If we decide, actually, whether or not we decide to go with that at the same time as the dome foundation, there was talk at our last board meeting about also adding a small foundation underneath the rails of the existing roll-off roof and creating a structure there to at least to temporarily house Cecil's 30-inch scope.
So to clarify, not really a foundation, we'd be pouring a slab there and then another kind of sidewalk. So on the north end of the current Mackey roll-off building, we were going to enclose right where the roof rolls off, at least part of that. And that's where Cecil's scope would go. And then we would roll Cecil's scope out toward the classroom. So it would be in the center of the center of the courtyard area. So it'd make a real nice focal point. And I would propose that no matter what we do this time around, we'll do the dome, and we should do that as well, regardless of whether or not we do the roll off. So those two should be done right away. So
Dan, could you pass that on to, Mike, could you pass that on to Dan?
Yep, I looked at it when I was out there Saturday night, and the piers for the roll off for the Minky, the slab will have to be, of course, inside of those because they stick up anyway. So I never got a price from him on that because he doesn't know anything about it, but he'd probably like to have a little extra to do because when he's out there, then he can do both. I just don't have a price on it, and so have to go from there.
And then you have to kind of determine how far out we want it to roll, how far out the concrete goes toward the classroom. So of course, inside the shelter, it needs to be a concrete floor, but I think it should be concreted out. So you're pulling it out on concrete.
Definitely, yeah.
And then when we stop it, we don't need a pier there or anything. It just needs to be a concrete slab, as big as that box.
Yeah.
Maybe have like thin little wooden rails around it to help guide it out and to help stop it when it's at the end of the outside concrete.
I'd like to rig up with some rubber tires on that instead of the metal ones, and I think it'd roll out real easy then. And whether we hit grass or whatever, it won't matter if we have nice little air-filled rubber tires on there. If we can do something like that, I don't know. What he has on there Cecil, that might work real. Your wheels that you've got now might work real well on concrete anyway.
You're muted.
There, it works a lot better on concrete.
So we might not have to do anything to it.
Yes. So we've at least got this on the agenda for the end of this year. One full foundation, one slab. And of course, then we'll need the materials to finish the enclosure under that, but
that should be marginal.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to go next door to this garage door place, and maybe they've got fiberglass garage door panels they'll give us. And we can make the sides out of that. I don't know about the top so much, but I'll talk to Mike about that too, or we can talk at the next board meeting.
Right. Now,
I'm gonna add one thing. It's a little bit of, at least I got an entry into it. I stopped by Russell finally today, and I talked to the front desk gal that kind of knows the whole operation. So I made the introduction of our club and some different ideas there, and she listened to me for about 20 minutes, what we're all proposing to do and the roll off and everything else. And she's trying to search out the right person that she thinks will be the best person to talk to. And so I've got a bunch of ideas that could be beneficial to the club, and we'll see how it goes from there. At least I made an introduction to this Stephanie at the front desk.
Cool.
good.
So
We do have a little bit of money that I'm pretty sure will be coming in. We'll have $1,000 from Wilton for doing the observatory out there. And from all indications, Mid-American Energy, since I'm doing that, will also put in 1,000. And then I've got for sure one private person that said that they'll give 1,000. And another private person wanted to see what progress we were making. They said they'd give 1,000. So, probably by the time we get concrete poured, if it looks right, we'll have another $4,000 coming in.
Good. And for my part, I've made contact with a Margaret Babbitt at St. Ambrose. Mike Opar put me in touch with her about the McCarthy Bush Foundation. So apparently she's the person to talk to about that. And let's see. I'm looking at her email right now. So McCarthy Bush is already doing quite a bit of donations for Ambrose's athletic field. So she's not 100% hopeful about, but, well, let's see. She said since it'd be a capital expense, it'd probably need approval. Is there cabinet approval? And let's see. I've let her know that we've already spoken to a number of Ambrose officials, including Paul Cook and Paula McNutt, and who have thrown their support behind the observatory project. And she said she'd be willing to, she asked if I'd want to meet with her to discuss this in person. And I told her that me and perhaps the QCAS board might meet with her via Zoom or WebEx. I mean, we could speak to her to talk about it.
That would be great.
Stumbling over my words again. The last email she sent was asking who would be the grant applicant, St. Ambrose or the QCAS?
I think that would be a great question for her to say which would be more beneficial. If she understands that we're putting together the project and doing it, but the facility is going to be donated to St. Ambrose. I don't know how she wants to look at that. Now, Robert, when we first met with St. Ambrose, when we were first putting this together, I got kind of a feeling that they might be willing to even help us along, helping with grants, helping find money, but it almost sounded like that they would help support the project. So, if they see Cecil scope in a building out there, and if they see the dome out there with your other scope in it, and the new big scope in your roll off, and if they see a foundation out there, maybe they're, we're not that much short. I think Mike kind of figured we were, 10 to 18,000 short, and if we're 40 grand into it, that's a big chunk of it. Maybe they'll even supply the rest, knowing that it's their structure anyway.
I figure we need a minimum of 50,000 because I think we got enough to do a good part of it, probably even buy materials for the roll off, but we don't have enough for the contractor that's going to build it. And I'm going to talk to Russell about that also. And if Scott Horseman can't come through for us, which at this time, I don't know if we can really count on him. We don't get very good correspondence on him. And So I'm looking for other contractors that would be capable of doing the carpentry work and finishing it. But I figure 50,000 minimum, and we might
that-
even be approaching 60.
Is that above the 40 that we've got?
No, just another 10,000.
All together.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I'm hoping we would need, but if we end up with 55 or 60, that'd be great.
Well, we need quite a bit more than that when we want us to put the gear in there, but if we get the structures there, we're well on our way to getting everything.
Yeah, we can work with Cecil's scope in there, and we just need to get this part done, the housing, and then we can go on from there.
Yes.
Yeah, that storage structure for Cecil scope we're talking about on the roll off, if we put Cecil's in the big building, that's really great for storage. And if we've got events that we're getting ready for, to have our stuff in there. And if people want to bring their scopes and leave them there for the weekend, that's a nice secure place. So it's not gonna be a wasted thing either.
On the building of that storage, that's going to be a floating slab to a frost-footed building. We're not going to be able to tie that south wall of the existing roll-off building in with the floating slab, or we're going to have movement between the two. The
north wall
going to stay put, and the slab is going to float.
Well, that might be an argument for doing a full frost footing in the roll-off building. If we, if a slab can't be connected by one wall without the fear of movement on a little thing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'd be with just a slab, that could move a half inch in the wintertime, and the Mickey roll-off is a full footing building with the roll-off piers, so that's not going to give, and that could be a problem if we think we're going to use that north wall of Mickey and only put 3 walls and a roof on the storage. That could be a problem. Just something to think about. But it's not really a problem if you build 4 walls on the slab and put a roof on it. But you're not going to be able to put a doorway in between very easy.
You don't need a doorway.
Well, if you got Cecil scope in there, what's the point of having a door between them anyway? You wouldn't be able to fit. Wouldn't be able to walk in. Wouldn't be able to fit anything else in there.
Yeah, we don't need a doorway in between.
Okay, I just wanted to make you aware of that's going to be like a little separate building, 4 walls and a roof on a floating slab.
I don't think you could knock down that north wall to get a door through there anyway. Aren't there crossing I-beams on that?
There could be. Well, yeah.
There are. I've seen them.
Yeah. That there could be in those walls cross bracing.
Yeah. Yes. There is cross bracing on that north wall, so you can't get through it to put a door in anyway.
Yeah. All right. I just want to make you aware.
All right. So we're still up in the air about the type of foundation for the roll-off building. Basically, it just depends on money, right?
Well, it depends. The one way we don't have to worry about it at all is if we would duplicate it similar to what the Mickey roll-off is, but that's what takes the money. That's what could take 60,000 if you wanted to go that route. You'd never have anything to worry about then. But I'm going to talk to Russell also, because they obviously got engineers there, and I'm just going to see if they can help us out. So
yes,
I've got a lot of ideas, and I know you have a couple engineers there at school too that you mentioned to Dr. Mitchell. So like I said, we get into October, I'll have a little more time to get around to making some of these rounds.
Still got a little time, yeah.
Yeah.
But at least we're making we're gonna make some progress this
And
year.
if we could just get out of Sherman Park and close the door there and get the dome over there and everything else adjusted and get some of that cement work done as late in the year as it's getting, I think that would be an accomplishment in itself for the club. In other words,
Yes.
realistic goals here.
Okay. By the way, the 20 inches out of Sherman Park, and has the club reached the point where they don't have to pay electricity out there anymore?
I don't know whether we want to shut it off until the dome is moved. It might cause undue hardship if they need electricity and moving it. I don't know. We could ask Dana if he thinks that he needs power. Well, John's here. John, do you think that you want power out there for anything?
Yeah, I think we better leave it until we get out of there.
Okay.
Hey, Mike,
Yes.
when you get ready to build that cage that you want to put in for the pier,
Right.
let me know. I'll give you a hand with that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a couple of them.
I got a big drill press and I've already got the all rod. They got all sizes, 5/8, I think all the way up to 3/4 at Menards, 2 foot long.
Yeah.
And they've got the probably 1.5 inch steel that we can make the bottom of it out of. And like you say, get
Right.
plywood to match the bottom of the cave mounting plate that's there now. And we're gonna disassemble that with some big wrenches, the mount and all that, so that we can use that base as a template.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, if you want some help, let me know.
Yeah,
I got no problem helping you.
I'll keep that in mind. And then also we might need your expertise too, Rusty, because you mentioned that a guy has a trailer, but he's using it right now, but he's also got a shorter trailer. And as far as that goes, like you said, a hay rack pulled behind or just pull it behind a truck. We're not going very far with it.
No, we're not driving any highways, just
Right.
that county road, gravel roads. So yeah, we could find, a local farmer there that would, donate his hay rack for the day.
Right.
That's all you need.
Yep. And if we don't have a end loader, like you put it together the first time, I think if you take some 2x6s or 2x8s, might have to buy 2 or 4 of them, and can get the dome loose and get some on one side, get another set of them on the other side, and 2 guys on each end. That would be 8 guys total, and we could just kind of lift it up and bring it over and set it down on the trailer.
I've got a 12,000-pound winch on my truck too. So
Okay.
We could probably use that lumber to build Cecil's temporary facility too.
Yeah, reuse it. So those are all ideas that I see anyway, in case we can't get a tractor in there to lift that dome top off. But I don't want to take away from Dana's ideas though. If Dana, let Dana lead. He's done it before, and I just want to support him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much how we did it last time. We had a couple of big 2x8s, I think, up there, and we loosened it and then slid it down to the trailer.
Okay. Just thinking ahead.
Gee, maybe we ought to get a bunch of high school football players and do like they do to Cleopatra and just have them walk it. Put it on 2x8s and have them walk it over to Menke.
yeah.
Hey, we've got football players.
Yeah, a dozen on each side. They ought to be able to carry it.
It'll be their workout.
Yeah, and they could have cheerleaders cheering them on all the way.
Well, I just hope we can get it all done before the weather changes, and I hope we need rain badly for farmers and everybody concerned, but I hope it doesn't go into a rain spell, because we need some nice days so Dan can get his other work done and still get to us and still move the dome. I hope it don't get cold early. You know, it'd be nice if the weather stayed till the middle or third week of November. I mean, I've even seen it 60 degrees in December, but it gets iffy when you get close to Thanksgiving.
I'm assuming the concrete guy is gonna want us to stake out where we want the thing.
Yeah, he'll, you know, as long as it's given the dimensions, we just gotta know that we want to point it north, south, or whichever direction, but
So Saturday's another open. Do a few of you want to go out there and let's stake out that dome one more time and stake out where we want Cecil's? So that if he surprises us and get there early, at least those will be done.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to do
Yeah.
some pre-planning.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I'd like to do that. I don't know who planned on going to the public event Saturday, but
I'll be there.
okay.
I'll be gone the next 2 weekends, but after that, I'll be around.
Jim, will you be available next weekend on Saturday?
I'm not sure. I haven't been feeling too good. I was at the doctor's office today, so we'll see how this progresses.
Okay.
Hmm.
And we decided 12 by 16, right?
For the dome, yes.
Yeah. So, and then what's his nut over at Wapsie wanted enough space between the building and the tall grass to get a mower between. So that ought to give us kind of the dimensions of that one. So maybe, you know, if it's just two of us, we can go out there and drive some stakes about where that 12 by 16 needs to go.
Do you have a long measuring tape?
Yeah, I've got 100-footer or no, yeah, it's 100 or 200. It's on a spool.
Okay.
But then the other thing is for Cecil's, we'll have to determine if it's just going to be bit wide enough to house his scope, or if you wanted to do, you know, a bigger area under there. And then we just come out straight.
Yes, yeah, I'll make a note of that.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on this? Going once, going twice. Sam, treasurer's report.
Okay, so general fund right now is 2137.23. Event funds is 327.30. Observatory relocation is 41,591.78, for a grand total of 44,056.31. So the one question that I have is on the event funds that we have 327.30. Do we want to move some money from the general fund and make it an even 500 like we used to have before, or should we wait until the new year begins?
I think we wait for the new year on that. I think every year when we budget stuff, we just make sure that that's got the 500 in it.
Okay,
I'm not sure. I didn't think we depleted anything out of that really. I know that I had some costs for Eastern Iowa Star Party, but I think that we had more donations than costs. Maybe not.
Have you counted the donations yet?
Yeah, I think I sent that to Sam. I don't remember what it was.
well, so I put the donations towards the observatory relocation. If you want to move them to the event funds, I can do that.
No, you're right. I forgot about that, Sam. Sorry. Yeah, there was $124 in the boxes.
Yep.
Can we afford to move any more money from the general fund into the observatory relocation?
Say that again.
Could we move some additional funds from the general fund into the observatory relocation?
What are the general funds usually used for?
Utilities is the biggest part of it.
That's the biggest part of it is the utility. We have, we're paying for the Zoom. And we're paying for the post office. So those are a couple of maybe $300 or $400 a year for those two things. And then the utilities is about 500 for the electricity. So we're talking about $900 just to pay for those three things.
Hmm.
Yeah, to
So,
give you a chance to look at it, Sam, we could talk about that more at the next board meeting, see if we
Yep.
can move funds over.
Yep.
Because that'll give you an opportunity to double check everything.
no, I'm pretty certain of what I'm saying. I mean, I got it all in a spreadsheet that keeps track of all that stuff. So, yeah, but we can talk about it on the next meeting.
We'll do that. All right, do I hear a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll make a
So
motion.
moved.
Second,
I'll second it.
so does Mike Dannenfeld. All right, all in favor of approving it?
I
Aye.
Treasurer's report approved. All right. Well, any old business anyone wants to bring up?
I don't know, is the Wilton Observatory old business or is that new business?
Well, if we wait until we put it in the new business category, then it'll be old business already, so. And you've been working on that for a few months now.
Yeah, I've got about 80 hours in working on it. And I've been keeping track of all those hours for Mid-American because they need that tracked to be able to donate. But basically, I think everybody's been out there, right?
Has anyone not been out to the Wilton Observatory yet?
Oh,
I've seen
well, we
pictures
need-
of it, but I haven't been there.
I have not been out there.
Okay, it's a 12 by 16 observatory by a company called Pure Tech, and they're out of Illinois. And that building, I think, it's all automated, and it comes with a pier that's electronic that lifts up and down. I think the building alone with the pier is $40,000. And at any rate, so that's the structure I'm working with. They've got a 12-inch Meade LX 850 in there, but they've got a 10 micron mount, one step up larger than mine. So it's a 2000. So that's what I've got for gear in there. They've got 3 nice attic cameras, an FLI filter wheel. They've got 3 ZWO cameras. And what the intent is that I'm able to hook all that up and make it easy for kids to use, swapping out cameras and everything, and do it all remotely from a classroom inside the school. So I've got the computer all set up now. It's running the cameras just fine. Some of the cameras don't work well, and I don't know whether there's a problem with the cameras or a problem with drivers, but all the cameras connect up. Today I got the filter wheel to connect up, and it's an FLI, so it's a real expensive one. And he's got 12 expensive filters in there. I've got that now running. I've got the astrometry set up for plate solving. It's ASTAP is what they're using. I got that working. I've got the mount connected all up and remotable. The building is seen by the drivers, but I cannot get that automated yet. And Pure Tech is helping me with that. They've got a Boltwood weather station on there. And what that's for is it'll detect cloudy, it'll detect rain, it'll detect humidity. With that, you can turn on and off actually you automate opening and closing the roof with that. So if it detects it's raining or getting humid out, it'll shut down your cameras. It'll bring the pier down. It'll close the roof, and then it'll reopen when things get clear again and start where it left off. So today we worked on that, and I got that bolt wood working unto itself. It's still not communicating with the software yet, but at any rate, remotely I can run the telescope, point it at objects, set up the cameras and the filter wheel to image the thing, download the images, plate solve. I can do all that now. So the things I can't do are the important things to me. I can't open and close the roof, and I can't raise and lower the pier. So those are the two big hassles. And as soon as that happens, I can spend more time without driving back and forth. It takes about 40 minutes drive each way. So it's kind of a hassle. But anyway, it's an interesting project, and I'm learning a ton of stuff about it. And a lot of this will be transferable over to our roll-off and even the domes when we decide to automate those. So I guess that's the good thing about it all. But like I said, I think I've got just around 80 hours in it now.
Really?
Did you get the added cameras to work?
No, I got the information from you, and then I got stuck in trying to figure out. He's got all those filters in that filter wheel. So I pulled the filter wheel apart to see what filters he had, and they're not labeled. So when I did that, the belt is kind of goofy in there, this little nylon belt that runs on gears. So it took me about an hour to get that back on right. So by that time, the guy from Diffraction Limited was on TeamViewer working with me on getting the boltwood working. So that's the next thing I do when I go out there. When I wait for the Mount Wizard 4 people to get online with me, I'll be playing on those cameras. Or I can bring you out there. If anybody, does anybody want to take some kind of little trip out there and take a tour of the little facility? We can set something up at your convenience.
I wouldn't mind checking it out sometime, but it'll have to be in October.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see it too.
Okay. Does everybody want me to try to set something up like mid-October?
Yeah.
Oh, is weekends or weekdays better? Is it day better or night better?
Weekends better for me.
Mike and Ellen, weekends good for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
And of course, we don't have to do imaging or viewing or anything. That's probably not the goal. But so you want to do like sometime during an afternoon on a weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice
so you
to-
can see
At
things.
best, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll keep it away from PAC and QCAS events so that it's not like we have to go there and hurry back to another location. And if we keep away from Mondays, we could even have a lunch or a supper or something at the Wilton Cafe. So they've got great burgers there.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other old business? Any new business?
Just have a question as to, is there still plan for our meeting in November at the restaurant?
Our annual banquet?
Yeah.
Hasn't really come up at the board meetings yet. Of course, we had to cancel it last year because of COVID.
Yeah.
But this year,
That needs to go down on the agenda. So along with elections.
We'll put banquet proposals on the agenda of the next board meeting.
Did you have some ideas for that, Cecil?
Well, I was just a curiosity as to whether or not we were going to have it. if there are gonna be any prizes given away, if it's gonna be at the same place.
I think Steve is going to give away a astrophysics traveler.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah.
I'm checking to see if Steve is still online. Oh,
Looks like he is.
Oh, the walls have ears.
So does the internet.
Hmm. So what was it? You're looking for what? A door prize for what?
Our November banquet.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to have to pass on that one.
Oh, we'll buy you meal tickets.
Oh, so where's the banquet at? Is in the past years it's been what, at the Chinese restaurant?
As it was the last few years, yes.
So it's same thing this year?
Well, we don't know yet. We'll discuss it at the next board meeting.
Do you have any ideas for it, Steve?
I personally see. I'm not a big Chinese food person. I know a lot of people are. See, if it were me, I would rent one of the kind of off to the side rooms at Golden Corral. I prefer steak over egg rolls. But, whatever.
Yeah, I don't have an idea.
We'll try to come up with some. All right. I tell you what, one bit of new business we should discuss, upcoming elections. November banquet, November elections. So, well, I'll be blunt. We seem to have lost our secretary, and our vice president has moved out of state. So if anybody's interested in becoming an officer for 2022, if anybody would like to nominate somebody for an office in 2022, of course, now that we're using Zoom, we don't necessarily have to be in state to be an officer anymore. So.
Yeah, that's right. Don't be trying to kick me out.
You want to still be vice president?
I will I will let some local people show some interest for sure, but I would hate to not be involved in the club, that's for sure.
Thanks to Zoom, we could become international if we wanted to.
That's right. And you say out of state, Al doesn't live in Iowa.
It's still the Quad Cities, it's local.
Quad Cities, Iowa, Illinois, what's the difference?
One wears mask and one doesn't.
As soon as that
That's
came
true.
out of my mouth, I knew that was going to be the response.
What happened to the secretary?
Jason just dropped off the grid.
I talked to him a little bit earlier today, and yeah, I would doubt he would be interested in staying secretary next year. But I won't speak for him. But
Okay, so bottom line, we got 2022 elections are coming up. You want to nominate somebody, if you want to nominate yourself for an officer's position, please do so. Send your choices to the board members. And
we have
do we need to set
them?
up an election committee?
Jim did a great job last year. I can't imagine he would want to put that much time in again, but up to Jim. I nominate Jim to be the nominator collector.
What about the fraudulent votes?
You know, I do have something I could probably volunteer for, is that, but would be like presentations, but I know you guys are very heavily involved with the observatory relocation and photography. So this would not include that.
That would be refreshing, Steve.
So
Yes.
I wouldn't say, I mean, I've got two things I'm working on now. One would be the St. Louis Planetarium. I don't know if anybody's ever been down there. Visit. And then number two would be this Astronomical League small project I've been working on, which I think is really interesting. Which is, again, it's a complete reversal of what you guys are doing. You know, it's more low tech. Again, it's more it's Flintstones. But I could probably make 2 short 15-minute presentations.
That'd be great.
All right. But not next month, the month after. So probably around what, November or wait, elections are in November, right?
Right.
So I would say probably during the winter months, you know, December, January, February, that kind of a thing, you know.
Okay.
All right. Now, I'm kind of long-winded, so I'm going to give myself like a maximum amount of 15 slides in 15 minutes. So I can give some mini presentations, just mini, you know.
Whatever you need.
That's it.
Okay. So yeah. Thank you again,
Yep.
Steve, for
Yep.
offering some presentations. And if anyone else has some ideas for meeting presentations, by all means, get in touch with the club board, with anyone in the club, and we'll get you on the schedule. Okay, now the elections. Do we need to select a committee to handle the nominations? I'm asking as a procedural question here because I've been president for less than a year. I'm still new at this.
So I collected nominations 2 years ago, and then last year Jim collected them. I don't believe he worked with anybody on that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, there was actually 2 members that were with me, so there were 3 of us.
There were? Okay.
Mm-hmm. It is a committee of 3, right?
It was
this past year. 2 years ago, it was just me.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I think in the past, we didn't even really have a committee, although the bylaws may say we will have one, you know?
I say that I'm incorrect. I worked with the guy with the lowest Mandy amount. I can't remember his name.
Mike Girl.
Mike Umbrello.
Mike Umbrella. Yep. He's gonna watch this later and be like, "What?"
Right. So shall we send out a general email asking for volunteers for the nomination committee?
Sure.
Well, you can always hope for somebody to volunteer for secretary. If not, then you'll have to start.
I'll second Cecil's interest in being secretary.
I'm just saying that, you know, you might find somebody who's willing to volunteer for it. So you wouldn't have to go through any committees or anything else. The only time you need a committee is if you have to go out and threaten people.
Is that a yes for the email asking for volunteers or not?
Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
I'll do that. Is there anything else we need to discuss regarding elections? John, are you outside?
I think John's frozen.
I hear lightning and.
I wanted to
thunder.
ask, yeah, I'm hearing lightning starting to approach my place.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah,
with John.
it's storming here.
Yeah, I heard it in the last
Starting.
10 minutes coming.
Right.
We're right on the front line right now.
Yes. Yeah, I'm seeing that on the radar. So is there any other business that we need to discuss tonight? If not, shall we entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move that we close the meeting.
Any second?
I'll second it.
What are you saying? What do you like to do?
All right. We're good to go then?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Aye.
All
Aye,
right. John,
Take
how's
care, everyone.
the skies looking where you are, John?
I felt the raindrop and I see lightning every once in a while.
Okay. Maybe we should shut down before we lose power or something. All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Well, maybe with Sam on and Dr. Mitchell on, can we get a board meeting right away? October 6th is our next one. I don't
Yeah,
want to wait
yes,
till
yes.
October 6th to talk about that foundation.
Sam, send me an email of times that are available and I can set one up.
Yeah. Sam, what do you thought on timing?
As far as what?
I mean,
Having a board meeting earlier than October 6th
or an additional one.
or additional one.
Because
Oh,
we've got a lot of stuff to talk about because, you know, we got nominations, we got the dinner, but more importantly, like I said, if we're waiting so long to make a determination on that foundation, we're going to push this guy way off and who knows whether you'll be able to get it done.
but I
And
thought,
the bigger our project is, there's more of a chance he'll get us taken care of.
sure, anytime.
So I don't know, do we want to try to do, I don't know whether Jim and Mike's leaving here next week, I think. So I'm wondering if we can set something up for tomorrow.
I don't have anything tomorrow night, so that would be okay.
You good tomorrow night, Robert?
I could do it tomorrow night, yes.
Why don't we see if the important ones are Jim and Mike?
Mhm.
So it'd be the board and Jim and Mike. And I think that's all. And I think we should make maybe a blind vote somehow on what we want or something, because I think everybody's got different things in mind, but we need to talk through it. And I don't know what an engineer is going to tell us that we don't already know.
All right, so I'll set it up tomorrow. You want to do 7 o'clock tomorrow night?
Sure.
I'll set it up sometime tomorrow morning.
Okay, and then if Jim and Mike can't make it, then we'll do a reschedule right away.
Okay,
Let's just schedule it for the next night, but those two are the important ones, I think.
Okay,
all right,
Okay,
hang on, I'm gonna
thanks.
include
Oh.
Jim and Mike in meeting. If they can't make it, reschedule them.
Yeah, and if you want, you can invite Jason and Paul, but I never hold my breath.
They're still on the QCS board mailing list.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, I don't know whatever happened to Jason. I don't know what,
I have not heard, I haven't heard from him in months.
well, from what Paul says, that he just talked to him that he wouldn't count on him. I wonder what he said. I don't know. I know that Matt said that he had some new business and that he was really busy trying to set it up, so I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Anyway,
All right, but I'll get it set up.
okay.
Okay, thanks.
All
We'll talk
right.
to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Okay, good night.